Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Staying King Sports. I'm your host, Nicholas Staying King, and today we're going to recap the week in sports. Um, so we're going to start off with the NBA today. My favorite story from the NBA this week, and especially throughout the entire revamp from the bubble, is the story of T.J. Warren. The Pacers guard has had a phenomenal time in the bubble playing. He is averaging right now 34.8 points per game, nearly 35 points per game. That is first in the NBA in the bubble. He's shooting 60% from the field, and he is shooting over 55% from beyond the arc. He's lighting it up. I hope he stays on this tear. I doubt it will last much longer, but I hope it does. Speaking of hot streaks, let's talk about the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns are 5-0 in the bubble, the only undefeated team in the bubble remaining. Devin Booker lighting it up. The Suns, and you would think that the Suns may have been playing some easy teams, but they haven't. The only really easy team they've played has been the Washington Wizards, who were without their two-star players. Other than that, they have faced the Heat, the Mavericks, the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard, and the Pacers, who have T.J. Warren. Suns are 5-0. They're on a tear. They're only 2.5 games back from the 8th seed of the Grizzlies. Phoenix is lighting it up in the bubble. Devin Booker is having a great stretch. And speaking of Devin Booker, Draymond Green made some comments on him the other day. He said, and I quote, "Get my man out of Phoenix. It's not good for him. It's not good for his career." Draymond Green today was signed $50,000 by the Golden State Warriors for saying this. And I really don't think it's his place. Draymond, though a good player, has been carried by the likes of Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson for 3 championship rings. Devin Booker has been carrying the Suns, even though mediocre. He's been their star player and been carrying them for the past couple of years. And he's a great player. And though he would be much more successful outside of Phoenix with some help around him, that's not Draymond's place because if he did not have that's just not Draymond's place. Booker is a far better player than Draymond, in my opinion. Booker, one of the big snubs this year as an All-Star. And I just feel like Booker overall, Draymond, I think I don't think 50,000. I think, that was not his place to say it. As well, more news from the NBA. Ben Simmons is most likely out for the rest of the year with he will have surgery. He will undergo arthroscopic surgery on his left knee to remove a body from his left knee. He's likely out for the season. That's a big blow to the 76ers, who had hopes of a championship push. Still have Embiid, still have Horford, but Ben Simmons, key loss there. Maybe I still think that they're a good team without him. Simmons is a great player, is a very good player, no doubt. Not a great player, but a very good player, no doubt. But I feel like it's a big loss, but the Sixers still have a nice enough bench and a deep enough team to continue to play hard and possibly make a push for a championship. Still don't think they're the best team in the East. I feel like the 2 best teams in the East right now are the Bucks and the Raptors, and I feel like most people would agree with me there. So I feel like the Sixers, though they didn't have the best shot, they still have a relative shot. They're going to make the playoffs, so they're going to be in the postseason mix. They just lost a key player there. As well with injuries, Kawhi Leonard, he missed yesterday's game against the Trailblazers. Kawhi with some left knee soreness, he's missed games earlier this year because of it. The Clippers said it would not affect him. He'll be back against the Nets tonight. Kawhi Leonard, one of, in my opinion, the top 5 players in the NBA. Clippers, in my opinion, the best team in the West. Kawhi and the Clippers, I feel like, are the best team in the West, and Kawhi with that left knee soreness, though the Clippers still won. Could be a little shaky. He may be playing a little easy on it tonight, but regardless, he should be okay. Speaking of the Clippers, yesterday they beat the Portland Trailblazers after Damian Lillard missed 2 free throws. And later in the day, Damian Lillard, Paul George, and Patrick Beverley went at it on Instagram. It all started when Dame said, "I sent Patrick Beverley home before. Paul George got sent home by me last year in the playoffs." This was after he was asked what he thought about the Clippers bench celebration after he missed his 2 free throws to lose the game. First off, on the 2 free throws, that's a moment Dame usually succeeds in. Very surprised he didn't sink them both. It's the first time I remember such a choke like this from him. Overall, though, I don't think it's a big deal because the Blazers are trying to make a playoff push. But Dame is still one of the best point guards in the league, one of the clutchest performers in the league. Had a terrible slip up there, but that's it's his first time, and I'm going to cut him a break for it. After that, though, Paul George says, "And you getting sent home this year," with a couple emojis, and then after that says respect. And then Patrick Beverley said Cancun on 3. Damian Lillard saw this and later replied, "Keep switching teams. This was at Paul George. Keep switching teams. Running from the grind. You boys is chumps." Personally, Paul George, you had Dame Lillard splash a game-winning 3 in your mouth last year. You should not be talking. Dame owns you right now. You did nothing on those free throws to help him miss. You were on the bench. Dame did choke. But Paul, I've seen shots sunk in your mouth all the time to lose games, and you got sent home last year by Damian Lillard. So until you send him home, I don't want to hear anything. Patrick Beverley is not even a top 15 point guard in the league. The best thing he's known for is annoying players and being an above average defender and claiming that he can guard LeBron James. So he's already pretty outlandish. Also, shouldn't really be talking a lot about Damian Lillard. Lillard is probably a top 5, you could argue 3-point guard in the league. So I feel like none of them have much to say there since Dame definitely owns Paul George as of right now, and Beverly is basically known for being a mediocre point guard that likes to run his mouth about who he can guard. Along with the NBA, the MVP finalists were finally released. The 3 finalists are LeBron James, James Harden, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. So let's go through the 3 key stats here with each players and the field goal percentage. LeBron is averaging 25.7 points per game, 10.6 assists, and 7.9 rebounds. Now, here's my problem with LeBron being an MVP candidate. Anthony Davis, key part of the Lakers, is first in points per game, rebounds, blocks, and steals on the Lakers, yet he is not the MVP candidate. And I know you could say, well, Nick, LeBron is the highlight of the Lakers. He's getting double teamed. He's the one that's watched all the time since he's arguably the greatest player of all time. True. And that is true. He's probably their most valuable player. But with someone as key as Anthony Davis, who has those great stats on that team as well, I just feel like LeBron is not, though he's having a great year and should be a finalist, I feel like for those reasons he should not win MVP. Now, for me, it's between Giannis and Harden, and they could either go either way, because Giannis is by far the key star of the Milwaukee Bucks. Chris Middleton's on that team. He's a great player too. But Giannis is an absolute unit. He's hard to guard. He can shoot. He can drive. He dunks. He's a great defender. He's a hard to stop player. He's got a great vertical. He's extremely hard to stop. Okay, he is their most valuable player. If you take Giannis away from the Bucks are a middle of the road team at best. Middleton, a great player. Don't feel like he carries the Bucks to a 1 seed the way that Giannis does. Without Middleton, though, you could argue the Bucks are around a 3 or 4 seed. But without Giannis, I say the Bucks are around a 7 to maybe 6. Giannis is such a key player in their just in their lineup in general, and you just have to game plan for Giannis, and he's so key there. I did forget to mention LeBron is averaging 55% from the field, and Giannis is averaging 52% from the field. Okay, now let's go to James Harden. Harden having an absolutely monster year scoring, averaging over 34 points per game, 7.46 and 6.4 rebounds. And he is shooting 50% from the field. So when you look at it here, the Harden's best player on his team is Russell Westbrook. Giannis is Chris Middleton. For me, I feel like Giannis should be the MVP. Giannis has led his team because I feel like Middleton and Westbrook, you could argue who's better there. I feel like Giannis has led his team to a 1 seed. He is the reigning MVP, is arguably the most unstoppable player in the league, not named LeBron James, or even more unstoppable than LeBron James at this point. Because LeBron does have some help. Not saying that Giannis doesn't, but LeBron has a greater amount of help than Giannis does. And Harden, though a great scorer, he's kind of at that middle of the road seed range. a championship contender for sure, but not along the likes of the Bucks. So for that reason, I feel like as of right now, Giannis should be getting the MVP unless Harden just completely pops off and leads the Rockets to a late playoff push. But it's a regular season MVP. If Harden pops off these last few games, maybe pushes the Rockets into a higher seed, you could argue him a little stronger. But for me, I think it's Giannis. Let's now move on to baseball. Uh, the surprise division right now, the NL East, where the Miami Marlins, after the coronavirus outbreak in their clubhouse, have continued their hot streak and are right now 7-2, with the reigning 2019 MLB champion Washington Nationals 4-7, the bottom of the division, threatening to be swept by the Baltimore Orioles today. Marlins absolutely lighting it up. But I mean, you have to think, are they going to be able to keep this up? And even yes, it is 60 games, so they could possibly make the playoffs with this. But in an actual 162 game season, would they be able to? Would the Marlins realistically make the playoffs? But as of right now, they're 7-2. They're lighting up in the NL East. Right behind them are the Braves. But the Marlins, first place in the NL East division. Quite a surprise there. As well, the Cardinals with more coronavirus positive tests from last Sunday's report. Their Brewers series was canceled. The Cubs games were postponed, and Monday's game against the Pirates postponed again. Um, I mean, how much longer are we going to let this go? In my opinion, I feel like it should be canceled and just make an exhibition season because 7-inning doubleheaders are just not going to work. I'm sorry, it's not a full season. This is worse than the scab games of in the NFL in the 80s. This should not be a season. Manfred, please do something right and just cancel it all outright right now. And let's finally wrap it up with some football and some boxing. So my big football news today, basically my only thing, Derrius Guice, Washington's former second-round pick and presumed starting running back, was cut no later than 2 hours after turning himself in on 1 count of strangulation, 3 counts of assault and battery, and 1 count of destruction of property. He has been bailed out, but Washington now cut him. Had problems in LSU staying on the field, and had problems with an ACL injury, nagging ACL in Washington. Now Guice out of Washington for good. Adrian Peterson, Bryce Love are going to have to step up for their run game if there is a football season. And let's wrap it up with the boxing match last night, the title fight for the WBA Intern World Weatherweight title. It was Jamal James versus Thomas Delorme. James won the fight on a decision. I felt like the fight wasn't close. James landed 209 punches. Delorme landed 115. My big problem with James, I feel like he had the wingspan. He was very tall. He had the advantage. I feel like he let Delorme inside a little too easy early on in the fight. Delorme landed some big punches, but later on, James kept him outside, kept the jabs. Also, James turned his back a lot, turned his head a lot, started running away. And the ref stepped in, but you can't do. You got to stay squared up. James just gotta. But he won the fight. Now the world champ. It was an okay fight. James was winning pretty much the entire fight, though. He had the wingspan advantage, and for the most part kept Delorme on the outside. And we're gonna wrap up today with my weekly bold prediction, which I'm gonna start doing. And my bold prediction for the week is the Phoenix Suns, the hottest team in the NBA, are going to lose their next 3 games and miss out on a playoff berth. I feel like the streak doesn't continue. They have some difficult games upcoming. And I just feel like they're going to lose. They're going to slip and lose their next 3. Booker's still going to light it up, but I just feel like they lose their next 3 games. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything. Leave a comment if you'd like. Tell me what you would like me to talk about in the future. And I'm out.